Arm wrestling fans, here we go again with the next episode of Champions DNA. Today I have a very special guest, a young man, new face of the arm wrestling, very talented Adam Wawrzynski. So Adam, how are you, man?
I'm
Thank
doing
you very much.
I'm doing good, man. Another day. Um, just blessed to be alive.
You have a great last week. You have a super match, and you won $2,000.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually won $1,000. It was a $2,000 pot. But yeah, it was a call out match. You know, young guy coming up wanting a shot, and he was willing to travel to me and put it up and agree to my terms. So yeah, we had the match.
I was very surprised that your opponent was really physical, very prepared. He put a good first round, and it was really entertaining match. I have to say, I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, he's a very he's not he made 220 pounds, but I believe he's a lot bigger than that walking around. Um, he was a strong guy. I kind of just wanted to really see where he was tough, and then I fought from there. But Justin Tackick's very strong individual. If he keeps training and putting effort towards arm wrestling, I can assure you that he'll be a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
name.
He was definitely very strong, especially when he got with the shoulder, really close position. It was probably foul. You can call that foul, very close with the shoulder, crossing the center line of the table, but
Yeah,
still very strong position.
very strong
So,
individual.
Adam, did you? Of course, I guess you watch East versus West 6. How is your take
Yeah.
on this event?
It was awesome. It's it's hard to think that Engen was able to surpass East versus West 5, but he did. 6 was each event keeps getting better and better. I really enjoyed the matches at
Yeah.
6. Went back and watched them a few times. I honestly can't tell you what my favorite match was because they were all very good. My heart goes out to those that got injured, Curtis Cameron and Rustam
Mm-hmm.
Babayat.
Yeah,
I hope
unfortunately.
you have some speedy recoveries. But other than that, it looked to be a really good, smooth event, and looking forward to many more by Engen.
Did you pay probably more attention to the weight categories which are closer to you? What is your weight at the moment?
I'm walking around a little heavy right now, about 210 pounds, 212 pounds, so about 95, 96 kilo.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely paid a lot more attention to the matches that were relevant more towards my weight. And they were awesome to watch. Really hoping that I was really hoping that Rustam and Paul would have got to finish out. I mean, I hate it for Rustam that he got injured like that, and I hope it's not too severe. But that was the match I was almost looking forward to the most.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Um, Actually, this is the second injury for Rustam in the same place. He injured this area a couple of years earlier against Plamen Dimitrov. I don't know if you know who is Plamen Dimitrov. He's very strong top roller from Bulgaria, and they
Mhm.
put in Russia in a tournament, and he injured in very similar way his chest muscle. Yeah. Adam, you have a background in American football before joining arm wrestling.
Mhm.
What do you think? How much that help you to get these huge gains that you make? So it's really unusual uh, to be new into the sport and getting so fast, so strong, and have so much success like you. Do you think your athletic background in American football help you to get so fast, so good?
Yeah, definitely. My background with American football is definitely my basis for strength. I was fortunate to learn so much at a young age from many great strength coaches. Many individuals had a very large impact on my life. And I've been I'll just categorize it as training. I've been training for so long, I don't remember when I wasn't training, right? I started so young, elementary school, all the way through high school, and then I played in college at a D1 AA level, and that definitely had a lot to do with, I'll say, the physical stature, my physical stature, and it, of course, it carries over in arm wrestling, right? Um, Big shoulders, big chest, big upper body, strong arms. That all gives you a leg up versus somebody who would just at the age of 18 or 19 pick up arm wrestling without any athletic background, right? Um, and then also too, I don't accredit all of my success to that. I mean, I was born with a pretty large hand, right hand, and that was
Yes, I saw some interviews with you. You explain it exactly that there is a difference between your right and left. But even if you watch only your left, even your left has a really pretty good size for arm wrestling. It's not in
yeah.
comparison to your right is smaller, but it's still solid hand. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty it's good size, but there's my right is much larger.
yeah.
And I have to say that's a lot. Most of that's genetic. I
Mm-hmm.
work them pretty close the same, but the right just responds a lot better, and it's a wider hand, and it's just it talks. It also it feels more natural. There's a lot more brain connection to my
Mm-hmm.
right hand than there is to my left, and so I'll say my table IQ on the right is a lot better as well. So a little bit of genetic, a little bit of
Mhm.
athletic.
And okay, and but you still train your both hands, left and right. You try to put similar exercises. You're not going the Devon Warat way with the pumpkin training, so on.
Yeah, I try to keep my training pretty symmetrical to both sides of my body. Um, the only problem is with having such a larger right hand and right forearm, there tends to there's a big imbalance, and of course that can play a big part in a lot of compound movements, and especially once you start getting into single arm stuff, my right arm can just handle a lot more in certain exercises.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to keep up with the left, but I do the best I can because I do believe in balance. I believe in symmetry.
And
I
in
don't
general
believe that you
health.
should be, yeah, I don't believe that you should be purposely walking around with a bigger arm. If that's the way the good Lord intends it, and and you're genetically that way, then there's nothing you can do about that. But yeah, I train my arms pretty much the same, and a lot of my training still has that athletic background and influence. So you may be surprised if you came and lived with me for a week and watched my training. You wouldn't see a whole lot of that single arm stuff on the table that you see a lot of other arm wrestlers doing. I'm mainly focusing on core movements, compound lifts, full body exercises to improve my physical strength and stature.
I get you. That was actually my next question. How is your currently trainings split over the week? How Adam is working nowadays? How much table practice? And how do you train your body? Do you training your legs, whole body? How did you split your training?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's also a hard one to answer because not there's certain phases of the year, or I shouldn't say phases. There's certain times of the year where I'm in different phases, and it's not all set in stone. It's all subject to change based on how I'm feeling, if there's any injuries, super matches, tournament schedule, whatever. But a basic and overarching way to answer that question would be practice for me is always Sunday. Well, 99% of the time. We practice very hard, and we go for a couple hours on Sunday. That's how I start my week. A Sunday is always day one. Typically, Monday is a shoulders and traps day for me, just because I feel like they take so much abuse on the table. Monday is a good day when I'm nice and sore from practice. I go in there and I do light shoulder work, and I work the rear delts and everywhere, and I kind of get those juices back flowing in that joint. Tuesday's typically an easy day for me. If I'm training at all, it'll be some core, maybe some legs. Wednesday,
how do you train
Thursday.
your core with deadlifts? Some exercises for your
No, not really deadlifts. I sustained a pretty bad back injury in football, so some of those lifts are hard for me to do. But when I say core, things that challenge your balance, things that challenge the twisting motions. I mean, arm wrestling is a lot of core to me because you're twisting a lot, you're holding. It's your core is very engaged. So
I agree on that.
I don't like to call them ab exercises, but you know, we can call them that for lack of better terms.
Classic core exercises.
Yeah, twisting movements, isometric holds, whatever you want to call it. There's we could sit here and I could talk to you for an hour about all the different core exercises I do. There's so many of them. But yeah, that's typically a Tuesday. And you know, Wednesday and Thursday, I call it push and pull. One day is a push day, one day is a pull day. Pushing with respect to chest and triceps, right? Pulling with respect to back and bicep. So I don't really call it back and bicep. I don't really call it chest and tricep. I call it pushing and pulling. Directions. I train directions. I don't train. I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't focus on, you know, different muscle groups. To a degree, I do, but it's mainly the direction that is important to me when training. And that's Wednesday and Thursday. Friday is up in the air. It really depends on which phase I'm in. It can be more arm wrestling specific. It can be more core stuff. It can be a little mix of both. And I will say this, every single day is a hand and wrist day.
Okay, in every practice, push, pull, or core, you're having exercises for your fingers and
yes. Underarm. I have the philosophy that your hand and wrist is a whole nother body, because I train, I mean, just like I'm changing the pushing and pulling directions and the shoulder mobility and the core. Well, for your hand and wrist, you got flex, you got reverse flex, you got rise, sink, turn, and then you got squeezing and opening, and there's so much to the hand and wrist. I split all that up throughout the week as well and tack it on to my workouts.
Very interesting approach for the wrist finger training. Okay. And I guess Saturday you have a free time, or take it?
Yeah, Saturday is typically a rest day. There's got to be a day where nothing occurs, and usually that's Saturday. Just kind of relax, let the body recover. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll throw rest days in the week too, if I'm really beat up or I'm noticing that, you know, my body's telling me something and you know, it doesn't hurt to throw a rest day in there. My training program is it's not set in stone in the sense that you have to follow the regimen. I listen to my body. I change it on the fly. Just because I lay out Wednesday to be a push day doesn't mean that it has to be a push day. That's why it's so hard for me to answer these questions sometimes, because
yeah, but you're doing great job explaining that. I think the most of the people would understand the basic of your weekly split, and of course, if you push it a little bit to more on Sunday, you will go with the intensity a little bit lower. If there is some injury, you will reduce it. I get that. In general, are your pushing exercises or pulling exercises genetically easier for you, or they're balanced?
Are they?
Are you stronger pushing? Are you pushing more, or you enjoy more the pulling? Which muscle groups are more dominant in your body?
Gotcha. Well, it's the pushing. It's the pushing. I've always been good at bench pressing. It's something that I focused on a lot in my football days. And if we were to compare apples to apples and see if I could bench press more or row more, then, well, it would be a bench press. And I feel like it's that way in most people. It's generally that way. Now, my pulling is very strong. I mean, I can climb rope very well. I would like to say I can row a lot of weight. Now, I will say this. I'm telling you that my pushing is stronger, but whenever I'm doing a row, any kind of row, it could be a pull down, it could be to here, any kind of row, I'm typically always using some type of handle that attacks the hand and wrist. So if I'm doing a row, I'm probably using my Country Crush neutral grips that spin, the 3-inch.
Yeah, I know that.
So maybe if I was using a normal handle,
we try to get this equipment in Europe, but there is really hard to get them in Europe. It seems that the companies deliver it only in United States. But yeah, I know this piece of spinning grips. Yeah, it's really good for the wrist.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not truly testing my lats, because if I was using just a normal gym handle, then I probably would be rowing a lot more than what I'm used to. But I'm always training everything together. I try to incorporate exercises where, how can I use everything together like I'm on an arm wrestling table, and throwing a spinning grip handle on a lat machine is a great way to target everything from fingertip to lat working in one unit.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I have to defense like numbers. So how strong is Adam and pushing and pulling? Give me some records in the gym that you want to impress the audience here. Scare the Georgians and the Bulgarians. Give us some numbers.
I mean, I'm not a big so when I'm training pushing and pulling, hardly ever am I trying to my numbers aren't that great. My bench press is about 400 pounds.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good, it's respectable, but it's not.
It's double your. Let's say you double your own weight, which is elite
close
exercises for someone who is not benching as a main sport. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. I'm not a bench presser, right?
Yeah, but
I use the bench press to help me in my sport, but I'm not here to bench press the world. Now my row exercises, I don't even know what's a good number to give you. I can do pull-ups with, 150 pounds for a rep or two.
Additional weight.
Yeah, hanging.
Hanging. Whoa.
I mean, my gym numbers are good. They're not anything
biceps
great.
Exercise. Are you doing biceps curls?
No, I do, but not like you see these other arm wrestlers doing that are
on the Scott bench with.
Yeah, no, not that I don't think they're good. I just honestly, I'm not good at them.
No,
I
you don't have to do it. So you can do bench. You have so many ways how to train the biceps and brachioradialis and everything there.
Yeah.
You have to find out which is working for you. Yeah.
I did. Matter of fact, yesterday I was doing hammer curls on a preacher curl machine, just strict. And I only did a 55-pound dumbbell for a few reps. It was horrible. So, and it's not that strength is weak on the table. It's just, honestly, we practice so hard that it's hard to train heavy during the week. It's hard. It's a lot more reps. It's a lot more functionality. My training program is way different than anyone else out there.
So you are trying during the week to not how to say that, to over push your body and your nerve system with too high intensity. So you're still not in the low range. You're doing some repetitions work with 5, 6, I guess, repetition for exercise.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It varies. It really varies. On the weeks that I do feel really good and I feel like I can go for heavier weights, I go for them, because there's no guarantee that the next week I'm going to be feeling the same way. But don't get me wrong, the most intense workout I have is Sunday at practice.
As practice. I was for a couple of years in South Carolina. I'm engineer. I was there in the BMW plant. Have to do some thing, and I drive to Rombat, to Atlanta, and we have a great practice. Are you far away from Atlanta?
No, I'm actually I live in South Carolina. That BMW plant that you're mentioning, that's right down the road from me.
Oh, probably, let's see, maybe in the future, if I'm there, I will let you know. And
yeah.
But at that time, 2017, 18, there was no club in this area, or I didn't know it. So that's why I drove to Rombat.
Well, I would have, you drove to Rome. See, I would have been in the area at that time, but there wasn't really a big group. That was kind of my earlier, I would have been there.
I remember the time that New Pickup said, so you have a Zloty, then you have the other format coming up showing, and then WoW come up in USA, and New Pickup said, these events will bring new future champions to the sport, new future talents. And I think you are the best example for that. So I saw in interview that you find out about arm wrestling over the WIL, and then you joined the sport, and now here we go. We are sitting here, you're huge talent, bringing incredible matches. And now, probably in a couple of years, we're going to see the new talents coming from East versus West events series.
Yeah, I agree. I've never heard anyone put it that way before, but yeah, you're exactly right. I found arm wrestling through WAL, and that's how I got started. But 2017, 2018, I was in the Charleston area, South Carolina.
It's by the way, wonderful place to be. I like hot weather. It's really, I enjoyed my trips there. It was really very good. Why are you not driving to Rombat and work out with him? Maybe it's too far away for your place, around
Well, I
200 miles.
well, I actually drive to Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is about 2.5 hours from me. And I love Ron Bath, all respect to him, but his practices don't have anything on Chad Silver's camp in Spartanburg.
Okay, Chad
That camp,
Silver's big name.
if you don't know, that camp is probably, and I'm not don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing them as far as Ron Bath and Chad Silver's. I'm just comparing the camps.
Yeah, the people, the atmosphere, the
And I
structure
don't think
of
Ron
training.
Bath, I don't know if he trains, I don't know if he has a one specific team that he trains with. Um I don't know that, but yeah, I could tell you right now that the camp that Chad Silvers runs in South Carolina is definitely the best in the nation. I mean, I can't really speak for camps I
How
haven't
many
been to.
people are meeting there on a weekly basis? How many people you have there?
10 to 20.
10 to 20.
Not many. It's the mindset, the mentality, and the expectations that are required of you when you walk in that door is what really makes that camp great.
Are you guys able to control your ego and not over push, not over force
Yeah. Oh,
yourself? Workout.
yeah.
Everybody is looking for. Okay.
That's what else that's the other thing that makes our practices so great in our camp, because the ego gets thrown away at the door. Let me tell you,
Exactly.
I lose just about every single match at practice. I mean, everybody loses to each other. Everybody's trying to work on something, and one day you may go in there and say, today I'm going to become a better top roller, and you're going to pull every single match at practice the same way to work on a top roll, and you might lose every single one because that's not your strong suit, but that's what you're trying to work on. And everybody at that camp knows that you're trying to work on that, and they're going to attack you in a different way with respect to their strengths for you to work on that. And it's truly a camp where iron sharpens iron. In broad
Really,
terms.
that's great that you have the ability and to work out with quality people who understands each other. Your main technique is hook or high hook, let's say hook. But you are still working on your top roll, I guess. You're not completely letting the top roll out of the. So you, because I don't see that you have so great hand and fingers and wrist, and the top roll seems to be logical step for your genetic to be able to be good at top roll. You're working out also the top roll move.
Yeah, top rolling is, I like to top roll. It's not that I don't like to. I would prefer to. I just, whenever I'm pulling, I just notice that most of my matches land in a hook. That's usually where it goes. Why it's that way, I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that my wrist flexion tends to be the strongest weapon I bring to a match. So,
and that sucks everybody into the hook.
yeah, so that maybe that's why. But you also need that to be a good top roller. So maybe one day I'll learn how to use it for that. But as of now, it's not broke, so I won't fix it.
Okay. I to be honest, I saw some videos, some footages from in YouTube, and I saw you. How do you pull? I'm talking about maybe 2 years before you compete at East versus West, and you get a lot of attention. And I saw your hands, I saw the way you're pulling, and I have a lot of years into the arm wrestling, and I noticed that you're built special, and we're gonna hear about you. There is just a matter of time, and I'm some kind of happy to see you now, getting the attention, developing. Hopefully, not injure yourself, not over push yourself. You're so young. You're in your 20s, right?
25. I'll be 26 next week.
You're so young. You have, if you like to stay in this sport, you have a bright future. And if you don't overrush yourself, I will be really happy to see you, to see your career, how it progressed. And you put against a friend of mine, Bujidar, and Boju. Boju is a really good he's world champion, and he's from these kind of champions that they are not afraid to face everybody. He's not afraid. He's don't have any calculation if that's good or not. He's facing everybody, and he defeats so many times his title. And pulling you, I know that I was sure that that was gonna be a tough match. But and the way you pulled Bojo was really impressive. Staying in hook, very comfortable, patient, not over rushing, finishing. Yeah. Is there? I saw you when you have a matches that you don't finish the matches very fast. You're holding in the middle. Are you trying to bring more pleasure to the audience to see longer matches, or you want to bleed the opponents and then finish them? Is there something on purpose, or?
Yeah, well, it's for me, it's all about control. It's all about control, especially in super match format. All I have to worry about is one guy. And most of the time when matches are stopped, I mean, I'm not finishing because the capability to finish isn't there. And if I'm comfortable in a certain position, then I'm going to stay there because I know that that's putting wear on my opponent's arm and it's tiring him out. So again, it's all about control for me. The more and more control I can get and obtain, the more I'm going to take. It has nothing to do with I would have a much more fun time pleasing the audience by just smashing opponents to the pad. It has nothing to do with the audience. I'm just not that way. I'm not a fast arm wrestler by nature. I'm about control.
But you have a great endurance. Is that also genetic, or you're working out for endurance? You have a great endurance.
It is hard to tell if my endurance comes from genetics or the way I work out. Reason being is because the way I train, it could be considered for endurance because I'm always jumping from exercise to exercise. It doesn't matter what the rep range is or what phase I'm in. I'm always supersetting exercises together or pairing them together, sometimes 3 or 4 at a time. So,
that's very interesting.
I've been doing that for so long. You know, I've been doing that since I can remember. Okay. So it's hard for me to tell if that's just something I was born with or I have it because I've been training that way for so long. Maybe a little bit of both.
That means for example, in your pushing day, you have different exercises, and between the sets, you're resting a lot, not so much, and going from one exercise to other supersets. So this type of.
Yeah, usually I am pairing exercises together, and there's no rest. Maybe it's a bench with a tricep push down. That's a very simple superset. But if I were to be doing that, it would be bench, push down, rest for a minute, bench, push down, rest for a minute type deal.
Okay, I understand. Is there some arm wrestler name which inspires you and and motivates you? Do you have some favorite arm wrestler or some mentor in this sport?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned mentor, and Chad Silvers is definitely my mentor and coach, and very, very good near dear friend of mine. But outside of that, John Brzenk is somebody who I think everybody looks up to. But no, there's not that one guy that I just feel like I need to become. I don't really have that. Like I said, I definitely have my mentor, and that's a whole different ball game. But as far as, I'm not really chasing to be like a certain individual. I'm more excited to see what individual I can write the script for. Does that make sense?
I got you.
I'm trying to, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Adam, you enjoyed the super match format. I already see it from your answers, but do you considering to go to WAF World Championship?
I would love to. I love tournaments. I do love tournaments. It's kind of hard to pick and choose big tournaments to go to when you always have super matches to train for.
Yes.
So, and I think I was actually asking Bozadar where Worlds would be this year, and he said Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, far away from.
Yeah, it would be hard. It would be hard.
Yeah, but
so
maybe next year, or you're only 25, so you have the whole time.
I definitely want to make it over to WAF Worlds. I definitely want to make it over to Zloty if that's ever gets going again.
Because I would love to see you at WAF Worlds, because this is talking about the tournament competition. This is the highest peak of arm wrestling, and you defeating Bojidar, and not the weight difference is not so big. It's bigger, but not so crazy big like Levan and Gasparini or something like that.
Yeah.
That means that I think I would love to see you. Talking about super matches, is there some opponents currently in your mind, in your head, someone you like to pull? You're very curious to pull against?
There, not really. I've had 14 super matches in my career, and I've never chosen a single one. It's always, to me, a good super match is when a promoter reaches out to you and sets it up. It's never, I've never called anyone out. I've never been the type to think about certain guys I want to pull or go after. I just know that my time will come, and when it comes, I'll be as prepared as I can be. So it's not, for me, when I'm training and I'm thinking of super matches, I'm not thinking of a certain individual. To me, I'm thinking of a question mark. Who's it going to be? And knowing that it could be anyone, I got to train for anyone. So yeah, I don't really have a specific name for you in mind, but I'm sure Engen does, and I'm sure he's going to set it up. So
yeah, he definitely will. Yeah, I would love to see you against RVJ. I would love to see you against Todd Hutchins. I would love to see you against some Bulgarian poors like Stefan Lengarov, like Plamen Dimitrov, like there's so much people who are matching you from the weight and size, and it would be really great. Let's see. Let's the future will show. Okay. What do you think about the future event? Levan Saakashvili against Ermes Gasparini in 1 month, 25th of February.
I don't know. It's so hard because it's so hard because I really haven't seen a whole lot of Levan recently in respect to matches. I mean, he pulls. It seems like somebody works up to get their shot, and they pull Levan, and when they pull Levan, he just squashes them.
Yeah.
So, in what lane is Ermes going to be able to beat Levan? I don't know. When you think about those matches and you really try to break them down, Ermes is a top roller. A lot of back pressure, a lot of up, a lot through the wrist, right? Levan's hand is as big as this, computer screen that I'm calling you on. I don't think Ermes is going to be able to peel out of Levan's hand.
This is pretty interesting because I talked with Hristo Derijakov. He's one of the main referees, and he said exactly the same. He just the size of the hand of Levan seems to be a big argument why the top row is going to be not so effective.
Yeah, but if you're Ermes Gasparini, you may not be banking on cracking it open. If he can get to the strap, and if he can just get into his hand enough to where it doesn't allow him to engage a full wrist curl, then maybe the match could be interesting. The only problem with that is even if he does slow down Levan's wrist flexion a little bit, he's got to go arm to arm with him. And
yeah,
I don't know. I don't want to totally discount Ermes out of the match. I just don't see him winning. I just don't see him winning.
The thing is, you have a significant weight difference between both guys. You have more than 100 pounds weight difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lot.
Levan is just enormous. I saw him I saw both of these guys in person at East versus West 5. And Levan is a very, very, very large individual.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know how much Ermes is. What is Ermes weight now? Do you know?
130 kg, which is around
It's probably
270, 80 pounds.
Sure.
Something
And
like
Levan is definitely pushing 400 pounds. So yeah, there's that's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight difference. Okay, yeah, we're gonna see. It's gonna be definitely very interesting match.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two last questions for you about your recovery. What kind of supplements do you have experience and do you enjoy? So amino, animal flex, something for the joints, for the general recovery, hydration, creatine. Because I know that the people with background of American football, they are very experienced in regenerating, the understanding of the regeneration is very high, and maybe this is something we can all learn in the arm wrestling. Or
yeah, I really don't take a whole lot of supplements. I used to. I do take creatine monohydrate, just straight creatine monohydrate, 5 milligrams a day. I don't really take that for recovery. I take it more so for muscle. I don't want to say enhancement, muscle support.
are you not getting too in super matches too stiff? Are you not getting too much pump in your muscles from the creatine? Because I made this experience taking a creatine. I'm getting too fast My muscles getting very full with blood very fast from the creatine.
I don't, brother. I can't say that I have experienced the same thing you have, but I will say this: everybody's different, and everybody's body is going to react slightly differently. So just because one person is doing something does not mean it's the formula for everyone. But yeah, I take creatine and I take a simple protein shake. That's it. Now I used to be pretty religious on fish oil when my joints were hurting, and I can't say that I noticed too much of a difference on it. And when I was taking the fish oil, I mean, it was the oil, spoonfuls, not capsules. I was taking the pure oil. It was good stuff. It was the Carlson's Norwegian fish oil. And there'd be some times when I noticed it would help, and other times where I didn't really notice a whole lot. So I can't sit here and tell you with 100% confidence that that works. But other than that, that's really that I haven't really experimented a whole lot with supplements or anything unnatural. It's not.
No,
I'm a very natural person. When it comes to diet, food, things that I put in my body.
You're trying to eat clean, I guess.
Yeah, I grew up with an Italian mother. She cooked everything from scratch. I never ate fast food or relied on anything processed, and it's just not in my wheelhouse. I try to eat as clean as I can.
So you have some Italian ancestors, how to call it, family members from any connection to Italian? Because the name is
so my mother
seems to be
the name is Polish. The name is Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really only a little bit Polish. My mother's side comes from Italy, and it would have been her grandfather that came over here. And from what I know, there are still a lot of family that I'm not going to say communicate with, but we know who they are over there. I don't know any names. I've never tried to make contact with them. But yeah, I'm mostly Italian.
Interesting. Actually, we have a guy in our club. He's from Italy, and he looks very similar to you. I mean, from the structure, and that's why I was surprised that you mentioned it. Okay, last question, Adam. What are you doing in your free time? What does Adam is his out life of the arm wrestling? What are you doing? Hobbies, interests?
That's a hard question to answer. Arm wrestling is
pretty much my
extracurricular interest. But no, I work as an engineer, similar to, I'm sure, how you do. So I do work a full-time job. I enjoy machining, making stuff. Like, I guess that goes with engineering. I got a shop full of tools and machines that I make stuff with. I enjoy motorcycles. I have a motorcycle. I like to ride when the weather's nice. And I also like to go out restaurants, get something good to eat. My girlfriend and I like to go out and experience different cuisines and good restaurants in the area. Charleston is known for their food, so we never get enough of that.
Yeah. Great. You can eat a lot of delicious food there. Adam, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I wish you a lot of luck for the future. And I can't wait to see you in the big stage, pulling big guys there. A lot of luck, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I really appreciate you taking the time to interview me and having me on.
Thank you.